Campaigning came to an end at 6 p.m. on Saturday in Uttarakhand and Goa, which goes to the polls in one phase on Monday, the 14th of February. The high decibel campaigning for 55 Uttar Pradesh Assembly seats, which are going to the polls for the second of the 7-phase election on February 14th, wound up at 6 p.m. too, in accordance to the EC guidelines.
On the last day of campaign in Uttarakhand, the party bigwigs making their final pitch for votes ahead of polling on Monday. Prime Minister Modi attacking the Congress at a rally in Rudrapur, saying Congress doesn't consider India as one nation.
कांग्रेस ये अब भारत को भी राष्ट्र मानने के लिए तैयार नहीं है। जो लोग भारत को राष्ट्र नहीं मानते हो, वो लोग उत्तराखंड को तबाह करने के इरादे से यहाँ आए हैं। इन लोगों ने आज संस्कृति याद आ रही है, विरासत याद आ रही है। मैं उत्तराखंड के हर विरोधी को डंके की चोट पर कह रहा हूं, उत्तराखंड के देवत्व के साथ हम कोई खिलवाड़ नहीं होने देंगे।
Congress General Secretary Priyanka Gandhi Vadra campaigned in Khatima, the constituency of Chief Minister Pushkar Singh Dhami, and questioned the government on unemployment, migration and rising inflation.
चुनाव आ रहा है तो फिजूल के मुद्दे उठा रहे हैं। इनको ये जवाब देना चाहिए कि बेरोजगारी इतनी क्यों है, यहाँ महंगाई क्यों है, यहाँ से लोग पलायन करके बाहर जाके रोजगार क्यों ढूंढ रहे हैं।
Hours before the campaign closed, Uttarakhand Chief Minister promised uniform civil code if party came back to power.
आगामी नई बीजेपी सरकार अपने शपथ ग्रहण के तुरंत बाद एक कमेटी गठित करेगी जो कि उत्तराखंड राज्य के लिए यूनिफॉर्म सिविल कोड का ड्राफ्ट तैयार करेगी।
The Congress hit back, saying the announcement is due to BJP government's failure to address issues of the state.
There is an all-round failure of this BJP government, and people feel cheated. Uttarakhand feel hurt. There is a wide sense of resentment against the functioning of this government, and they have not delivered anything on any front.
The state goes to polls on 14 February in a single phase, with Congress hoping to return to power and the BJP trying to form the government once again, in a bid to buck the trend of alternate governments by Congress and BJP in the state. The Aam Aadmi Party, contesting in Uttarakhand for the first time, is hoping to disrupt the state's bipolar politics.
स्थानीय मुद्दे आज तक जो भी नेता यहाँ आया चुनाव लड़ने, उन्होंने बहुत से वादे किए। यहाँ लाल कुआं जो विधानसभा जिसके नाम से है, उसके वहाँ के मालिक लोगों को आज तक मालिकाना हक नहीं मिला। कोई भी महिला को अगर कोई स्त्री बच्चा पैदा करना हो तो उसको यहाँ से 16-17 किलोमीटर जाना। आज से लगभग 50 साल हो चुके हैं इस लाल कुआं विधानसभा को।
महंगाई तो बहुत बड़ी है, ये तो दिख ही रहा है सबको।
Ahead of polling, Uttarakhand police have assured of elaborate security arrangements, along with deployment of special forces in sensitive areas.
तैयारियां की गई हैं। कुछ एरियाज को हमने एरिया वाइज संवेदनशील माना है, तो वहाँ पे हमने अलग से फोर्स तैनात कर दी है, जिससे कि अगर कोई बात होती है तो इमीडिएटली जो है एक्स्ट्रा फोर्स वहाँ पे यूज की जा सके।
The people of Uttarakhand have changed the government in every 5 years, hoping for development in the state. Development which is in fact the basis for the creation of the state as well. However, it is still deprived of it. And while as elections are coming near, each and every political party has promised better days for the public. Which political party will have better days will be decided by the public on 14th of February. With camera person Pawan Tiwari, I'm Akshay Dongre for NDTV.
Meanwhile, it was a day that saw star campaigners of the BJP, the Congress, the TMC and the Aam Aadmi Party making their last-ditch efforts to woo the voters. And in Goa, for the revolving door politics in the state of Goa, it's a case of angry voters and a divided opposition. And the big question is, who will the voters give their Valentines to this year?
Like you said, 14th of February is when Goa casts its vote, and this time one of the most interesting aspects of the election has been just the sheer number of opposition parties that are in the fray. Voters who are disillusioned with the current state of affairs, the 10-year anti-incumbency of the Bharatiya Janata Party, are confused on who is the most viable opposition. Is it the Congress? Because they fear if they vote for the Congress, those MLAs defect and join the BJP. Remember, Congress has seen a huge rate of defection. 15 of the 17 Congress MLAs who were voted to power in 2017 defected and joined the BJP. On the other hand, TMC has come into the fray just about 4 months ago as far as the Aam Aadmi Party is concerned. In the last election, they drew a blank. A lot of their candidates, in fact, lost their deposit. They are hoping that they will gain some ground. They have put in work over the last 5 years. The BJP at the moment is missing the leadership of Manohar Parrikar. It is their first election without Manohar Parrikar. Can Pramod Sawant deliver to them is a very big question. I heard what voters were telling Akshay in the hill state of Uttarakhand, and I have to tell you the issues for the voter here in Goa are very similar. The geographical context, may be completely different. The politics of Goa may be completely different, but as far as the voter is concerned, we've crisscrossed the state of Goa. Unemployment is the biggest issue, and so is price rise. And interestingly, when we spoke with the Goa Chief Minister earlier today, he said, according to him too, unemployment is the biggest issue for the people of Goa.
And in the UP polls, last-minute change of seats have left some SP candidates and their allies sulking. Shivpal Yadav also has some grudges over seat sharing with his nephew, Akhilesh Yadav, who just left one seat. That's the Jaswant Nagar seat for his uncle. Shivpal Yadav has been given the cycle symbol, and he will be contesting as the SP candidate from Jaswant Nagar in Etawah, a seat that he has won 4 times.
A few months ago, after forming a separate political party, Pragatishil Samajwadi Party, Akhilesh's uncle, Shivpal Yadav, announced candidates for almost 100 seats. But after reconciling with his nephew, he is limited to only one seat, Jaswant Nagar. Shivpal Yadav's pain for having to settle down with only one seat in return of the truce with his nephew became evident during his poll campaign.
तब तक मैंने दी, फिर बेची थी। जब बेची सीटें दी, तब तो कहीं ज़्यादा नहीं।
During the last assembly elections, the fight between the uncle and his nephew over the legacy of Mulayam Singh Yadav resulted in huge losses for the party in Auraiya, Etawah and Mainpuri, traditionally SP strongholds. This time though, Akhilesh realizes that Uncle Shivpal's support is very important. This is the reason Akhilesh himself went to convince his uncle 2 months back. Shivpal, who once called Akhilesh useless, is now talking about making Akhilesh the chief minister.
मैं तो देखिए भारतीय जनता पार्टी को हटाने के लिए हम लोग एक हुए और हमारे दिल भी मिले हैं। तो हमारे तो सामने ये है कि भारतीय जनता पार्टी को हटाना है, फिर त्याग भी करना है कभी कभी।
तो त्याग भी करना, तो शिवपाल सिंह यादव ने ये त्याग किया है।
हाँ
सर,
ये त्याग किया है,
ये त्याग किया है।
और राजनीति में त्याग भी जरूरी होती है, हमेशा पद भी कोई जरूरी नहीं है।
The BJP has fielded Vivek Shakya against Shivpal. Vivek says that just like Smriti Irani defeated Rahul Gandhi, he will defeat Shivpal Yadav.
पहले यहाँ अमेठी की सीट चलती रहती थी, स्मृति ईरानी पहुंची हमारी मंत्री हैं और उन पे बड़ी जिम्मेदारी है। उन्होंने वहाँ हराया, जसवंत नगर की सीट जीत करके, और आदरणीय मोदी जी को, आदरणीय योगी जी को समर्पित करेंगे। सभी कार्यकर्ताओं ने संकल्प लिया है।
The Congress has not fielded any candidate against Shivpal Yadav, while BSP's Brijendra Pratap Singh is in the battlefield.
Akhilesh Yadav understands the importance of this election. That is why Akhilesh Yadav has fielded Uncle Shivpal from Etawah, and he himself is contesting from Mainpuri. So Akhilesh Yadav can secure his main fort of Firozabad, Mainpuri and Etawah. And last time Akhilesh Yadav had to face losses just because Shivpal fielded several supporters of his as independent candidates. In Lucknow, with Vineet and Arshad Jamal, Saurabh Shukla for NDTV.
And with its renewed focus on women voters, the Aam Aadmi Party held a women dialogue program led by Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal's wife and his daughter. This in Dhuri, the assembly seat in Punjab, where the party's chief ministerial face Bhagwat Mann is contesting the polls.
On stage, the wife and daughter of Arvind Kejriwal with the family of AAP's Punjab CM candidate Bhagwant Mann. The venue, Mann's constituency Dhuri in South Punjab, Sangrur district.
आज मैं यहाँ पर भगवंत मान के लिए वोट मांगने आई हूँ आप सबसे। अगर पंजाब में आम आदमी पार्टी की सरकार आती है तो हर महीना को हजार रुपया मिलेगा।
AAP's rivals have repeatedly attacked Mann, calling him an alcoholic, while the women from the nearby villages who attended the event said alcoholism was a major problem. They say they are not bothered about the allegations against Mann.
नहीं ਵੀਰੇ ਹੁਣ ਨਸ਼ਾ ਤਾਂ ਫਿਰ ਹੁਣ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਨੇ ਕਿਹੜਾ ਕੋਈ ਬੰਦ ਕਰਤਾ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਬਾਕੀ ਭਗਵੰਤ ਮਾਨ ਦਾ ਸਿੱਧਾ ਜਦੋਂ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀ ਜੀ ਹੁਣ ਜੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਇੱਕ ਮੌਕਾ ਦਵਾਂਗੇ ਫੇਰ ਹੀ ਪਤਾ ਲੱਗੂਗਾ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਚੰਨੀ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਨੇ ਜਾਂ ਕੈਪਟਨ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਨੇ ਕਿਹਾ ਨਸ਼ਾ ਬੰਦ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ ਹਾਲੇ ਕੋਈ ਕੀ ਨਸ਼ਾ ਬੰਦ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੋਇਆ ਹੈਗਾ ਸ਼ਰਾਬ ਤਾਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਵਿਕਦੀ ਸੀ ਹੁਣ ਵੀ ਵਿਕ ਰਹੀ ਆਗੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਹਾਲ ਤੱਕ ਕੋਈ ਹੈਗੀ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਖਾਣਾ ਪੀਂਦਾ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਦੇਖ ਕੇ ਜੀ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਕੀ ਪਤਾ ਇਸ ਗੱਲ ਬਾਰੇ ਅੱਛਾ ਇਸ ਗੱਲ ਬਾਰੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਹਲਾ ਹੀ ਪਤਾ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਅਸੀਂ ਪਰ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਆਏ ਦੇਖਿਆ ਹਾਲ ਤੱਕ ਉਹਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਕੋਈ ਵੀ ਕੋਈ ਸ਼ਰਾਬ ਪੀਂਦਾ ਭਗਵਾਨ ਤਾਂ ਚੰਗੇ ਹੀ ਸੁਣ ਲਿਆਂਗੇ।
One of AAP's big promises for women is a cash incentive of 1,000 rupees per month to all women above the age of 18. Some disapproved of it, saying the focus should be on empowering the women.
ਹਾਂਜੀ ਪਹਿਲੀ ਗੱਲ ਤੇ ਇਹ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਬੇਰੁਜ਼ਗਾਰੀ ਦਾ ਮੁੱਦਾ ਸਾਡਾ ਇਹ ਖਤਮ ਪੂਰਾ ਕੀਤਾ ਜਾਵੇ ਤੇ ਦੂਸਰੀ ਗੱਲ ਇਹ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਸਹੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਹੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਹਰ ਮਹਿਲਾ ਨੂੰ ਮਹੀਨਾ 1000 ਰੁਪਇਆ ਦੇਣਗੇ
ਸਾਨੂੰ ਤਾਂ ਪੜ੍ਹਾਈ ਔਰ ਨੌਕਰੀ ਦੀ ਲੋੜ ਹੈ ਪੈਸੇ ਦੀ ਲੋੜ ਜਮਾ ਬਿਲਕੁਲ ਨਹੀਂ ਹਾਂ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਤਾਂ ਸਾਡੇ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਆਉਣ ਵਾਲਾ ਭਵਿੱਖ ਸਾਡੇ ਬੱਚੇ ਦਾ ਵਧੀਆ ਹੋਵੇ ਬਸ।
The Congress candidate against Mann is the sitting MLA Dalveer Singh Goldie. He said he is not fazed by AAP's woman-centric push, spearheaded by Kejriwal's family.
क्योंकि यहाँ पे मेरी वाइफ मेरे लिए बहुत काम करती है तो अभी उनको बड़ा पहले तो उनके जो सपोर्टर थे वो बोल रहे थे कि आप नॉमिनेशन भरो आपको 51,000 पे जिताएंगे।
With Bhagwant Mann's entry of fighting from Dhuri seat has made it a hot seat, and Dalveer Singh Goldie, the sitting MLA, says that he is the only one who has been born and belongs to this assembly segment. But since 1997 there has been no sitting MLA who has been able to repeat or retain that seat. Now only on March 10 we will get to know whether this seat will get a new MLA or Congress candidate will repeat and break that old electoral record. In Dhuri, Mohammad Ghazali for NDTV.
And Mamata Banerjee's TMC has announced a 20-member National Working Committee following a meeting to discuss a growing rift between the old guard and a faction led by her nephew, Abhishek Banerjee, who is, NDTV has learnt, likely to continue as the National General Secretary, but an official announcement is awaited.
After the meeting, she had declared National Working Committee of All India Trinamool Congress, while she mentioned that the office bearers of the All India Trinamool Congress will be declared shortly. Now she, as chairperson, has declared 19 members as National Working Committee members.
In a bid to resolve a very public rift within her party, the Trinamool Congress, Chief Minister of West Bengal, Mamata Banerjee, held a meeting with senior leaders of her party at her residence in Kalighat. Now also present at that meeting was the National General Secretary of the Trinamool, but the Chief Minister or the Trinamool chairperson has taken the decision to completely rejig the party leadership and reconstitute the National Working Committee of the Trinamool Congress, which is the top decision-making body. Now, what is this very public rift? There was a rift on Twitter where Abhishek Banerjee, the young blood of the party, the young leader, and also seen as heir apparent, was pushing for a one-man, one-post principle within the party. Several senior leaders in the party are opposed to that because they do hold more than one post, and that, of course, amongst them is Firhad Hakim, the Transport Minister and Mayor of Kolkata, who was also present at the meeting and now who has also been included in this decision-making body of the Trinamool Congress, the National Working Committee. Now, apart from Mamata Banerjee's post, which is of course the chairperson of the All India Trinamool Congress, no other posts have been decided. Abhishek Banerjee's former post was the National General Secretary. Will he continue in that role? Will he continue in that post? Is something that's still no clarity on, though it's likely that he will continue in that post because he, after all, is the heir apparent in the party and his word carries great weight. But nobody crosses Mamata Banerjee, and within the Trinamool Congress, of course, her word is supreme, which is why she now seems to be taking charge of this situation. Abhishek Banerjee will likelihood continue in his old role as National General Secretary, but there is a question mark over whether he will be able to push through the principle of one person, one post, over which there's been a very public rift, which has also seen the Prashant Kishore-led political consultancy IPAC also getting involved and coming in and tweeting against a leader who alleged that her social media handle was used to endorse this one person, one post principle without her knowledge. IPAC saying the organization doesn't handle the digital properties and the social media handles of the Trinamool Congress or its leaders, and anyone suggesting so is either utterly uninformed or blatantly lying. So Mamata Banerjee finally holding a meeting with her senior leaders at her residence to address this very, very public rift. Abhishek Banerjee, of course, also part of that body, and Firhad Hakim part of the body, but more importantly also looking at the national picture, newer names have also been included in that body. In Kolkata with camera person Aniruddha Tripathi, Saurabh Gupta, NDTV.
And amidst all the ugliness that the hijab versus the saffron shawl row has created across India and globally, here's another look at India, a poignant image that doesn't perhaps get enough coverage in these communal times that we live in. In Uppinangadi, a small town in the communally charged Dakshin Kannada district, devotees of a temple celebrating the Brahm Mahotsav of the Sri Venkatramana temple made way for a Muslim funeral procession. And the Ramakrishna Math Kamvar also expressed its displeasure over the hijab row, calling it, and I'm quoting here, not good, not in the interest of society and harmony. And they also criticized those who are putting adverse remarks against the senior counsel of the girls wearing hijab. And the Gujarat Titans are a new entrant in the IPL. They've made some interesting buys, spending nearly 70 crore. Here's my colleague Rika Roy in conversation with the Gujarat coach, Gary Kirsten.
Gary, thank you very much for joining us on the broadcast. Please tell us, you've got 10 players and have formed a team so far, 10 players, and you have about 18 crore rupees left. What was your experience of the auction on the first day?
It was a very long day, and I feel for the auctioneer who fell off the stage. It wasn't a pleasant thing to see at all, and I hope he's okay. But it was a long day, and very considered bidding from all the franchises, which is not unexpected. I think everyone's putting in a lot of research into how to build their team out. So it took a bit of time.
Gary, let me ask you, you have almost 15 more players to buy, 25 make a squad, and you have 18 crore rupees left. What is going to be your auction strategy like now?
Well, we could also just pick 18 players and have we've just got to cover our bases in terms of where we feel we need to go towards. So I presume every team's the same. They haven't really covered everything. So that would be a priority tomorrow. So we'll do some homework tonight to make sure we get that sorted out.
Well, you have a long night ahead then. Let me ask you about one of the interesting buys that you did. Rahul Tewatia, whose base price was 40 lakh rupees, went up to 9 crore rupees. How do the auction dynamics really work? He was paid 22.5 times more than his base price.
Yeah, and I think every franchise had one of those, where they just had to bid up. CSK were very keen on him. We were as well, because we needed an Indian player who was a left-hander. And when you get to that stage in the auction, a lot of players have gone already, especially the the high-profile Indian players. So you need to get someone, otherwise you're gonna lose out. So I think that's the nature of the auction. You had two teams bidding in a bidding war basically, and it was just if you could hold out, and we just felt it was an important recruitment to our team.
Gary, your best bargain buy for today?
I think we were very keen on this Afghanistan left-hand Ahmed, and we thought there would be other teams bidding for him, so we were very happy to be the only team going for him. I think we got him for 30 lakh in the end, so we were certainly very happy with that.
I must say that was great homework on the part of your guys. Let me ask you about Mohammad Shami also. Him going for the kind of price 6.25 crore, was that expected?
I mean, we did think that he might go for a little bit more, but he's a quality bowler, and I mean, he's a strike bowler up front, and to have him and Lockie Ferguson, who are going to be opening the bowling for us, I think will be a nice unit. And as we know in this form of the game, you need to strike early, so they've got some good skills, the two of them, and hopefully we can make some inroads early in the innings of the opposition players.
A couple of last questions. What kind of players are you going to look for tomorrow?
We need a few batsmen, so we'll probably be looking into that, and we've got some international options available as well. So I mean, I think the nice thing is that going through the list, there's still a heap of quality international players available. We're just probably going to have to look at our top order and try to fill that out a bit.
One final question, Gary. But there's a definite trend emerging out of the auction today. A lot of big bucks shard on the bowlers. T20, it seems, is no longer just a batsman's game.
Well, I think they're probably more batsmen than they are bowlers, to be honest with you. But bowling's a tough game in IPL, and the guys that have come through and are the kind of top of the pile, that proved their worth under pressure in this competition, are the ones that all the franchises are targeting. So it's probably no surprise. I think there's a lot more quality batsmen than there are bowlers.
Well, I wish you the very best of luck with Gujarat Titans. This is your second stint in IPL after Royal Challengers Bangalore, and hope you return with a great team after tomorrow's auction.
Thank you very much.
Gary.
Thank you.
And that's the news at this hour. Thank you for joining us.